So in the middle of this series, we are talking about this question we're answering. Do we have control over what our purpose in life is going to be? Do we have a say in it? Is it fate or is it destiny? We're discussing those two things. And I'm giving my answers and I'm giving my thoughts on the same thing. And you need to notice that every time it's a Wednesday, we're doing a conversation. It's a bit of a break from the series. However, any other day, the series goes on. So we're going to do one more nugget today in answering. In fact, we're going to do a recap of yesterday and go deeper in what we started discussing yesterday. Is what you are doing as your purpose something that you chose to do, or is it something that you are coerced to do? Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
Life Signatures episodes are brought to you by AfricanBooks.com, which is an online ebook platform that seeks to broadcast the African Christian voice to the world. As such, they have become a hub for African content, connecting African writers and publishers with a global reading audience. Publishing your books on their site is free and easy, with authors having full control over their content and the price they choose to sell at it. I was personally blown away by the concept that AfricanBooks.com is coming up with. Things like no content from their site or their app is going to be run on laptops so that people can easily copy. In other words, your content as a writer is restricted from digital multiplication or digital copying. So you remain intact with your information. And the other concept that I got so blown away with was the fact that in some time to come, in due course, AfricanBooks.com will be starting to announce African Writer of the Year. In other words, there will be competitions in all African countries to figure out who is the best published author. And I also fell in love with the fact that countries can actually compete against each other. We can have African authors going at it after each other, and your book as an author will be reviewed and have some stars and recommended upon that particular platform. The thing is that it's an answer to Amazon.com. You know, with Amazon, what happens? You've got to have an account in the Americas or whatever, or in Europe before you can get paid as an author. But here, the local currency is in play and the local means of getting paid are in play. So to get started, go to AfricanBooks.com as an author or as a publisher, and even as a reader if you wanted to read your African favorite authors. Enjoy. Where do you begin answering a question dealing with fate? Where do you begin answering a question dealing with destiny? And maybe ultimately dealing with identity? Chances are that you will not go far unless you talk about someone who is in charge or someone who is in control. Are you really in charge of everything that you're doing in your life? Are you really in charge of your life in its entirety? In the episode yesterday, we said that there are two important days. There's the day of birth and then there's a day of burial. Are you in control of those 2 days? No, you are not. You cannot send an email to your father and say, I want to be born on this particular day. No. In fact, some of you normally cajole your parents and you harangue them and you call them names and tell them, I did not send you an email. I did not apply to be born. That's the word. I didn't apply to be born. You don't have control over it, and you're absolutely right. You never applied to be born, but you are here. But then you also don't have control over the day that your life will come to a close. You don't know that. You have no idea about that. What you do have control over is today. Your days alive, you have control, full charge and full control over those particular days. But here is another interesting thing. You do not decide what your purpose is because you are the created. You are the made. You did not make yourself. Remember, you never sent an email. Remember, you didn't apply to be born. So you do not decide what your purpose is. Because for an important thing, just look at this, for example. Every non-living thing, the things that we make them for a reason and for a purpose. We decide what we want those things to do. Before we can create them, we have a blueprint. That's why we have blueprints for things. You have a blueprint for your house. You have a blueprint for a microphone. You have a blueprint for a computer and so on. And then you create them. That means that before the computer was created, you had an idea of what you wanted to do. In fact, you had a clear idea what you wanted it to do. How about a human being? You want to tell me that a human being just comes and shows up and starts figuring out, hey, what's up? What's going on? What's happening? What's going on in this world? No. The human being comes already predestined. Already intended by the designer, by the creator, on the things that they're supposed to do. And that's why the creator equips them in a particular manner. I'm going ahead of myself. Therefore, you don't decide your purpose. You discover it. And we say that I can guide you in the process of purpose discovery. If you don't know what your purpose is, go to lifesignatures.life. Look for the course, Discover Your Purpose, 8 milestones on the journey of your purpose. It's $550 for 8 weeks. And you will discover what your purpose is. You go through a thorough journey to discover what your purpose is. You don't decide what it is. But we say that you are in full control of the rest of the days. Probably by the time you're able to make your own decisions. Someone else is going to be in charge of your life until you can be able to make your own decisions. And all along you're being equipped. But even as they're making decisions for you, things are growing inside of you. Things like your passion, your heart, your disposition, your heart set, your mindset, your emotions, your personality. These are naturally growing. These are the capacities that you are pre-equipped with before you came on the face of the earth. Your passion for some things is not connected to whatever it is on the earth. It is connected to what it is inside of you, what you came with it, what you came with from the moment you were born, even from the moment before you were born. So you don't have control over the day you were born. You don't have control over the purpose that is of your life. You don't decide what it is. But you decide how you're going to deploy yourself for the rest of your life. You don't decide how you're going to die, but you decide probably how you're going to be remembered. So fate, as people will say, consider the following. Your purpose, I'm going to talk about 5 things. Number 1, your purpose is grander than you. Listen, that's why I'm saying that the human being is created. And the human being is much more important than any non-living thing that we make. We are the ones who make these things that do stuff and so on. Therefore, we are higher in purpose than they are. But your purpose as an individual purpose is grander than you are. Why? Because You are formed for it, not it for you. The thing that my microphone is doing is greater than the microphone. Let me just go to the rudimentary level. The thing that my computer does is greater than my computer. Your purpose is greater than you. That's why sometimes when they steal our laptops, they stole my laptop. It had my ready, polished manuscript on a book I'd written, and I've never gone back to it, called Raising the Inner Game of Your Child. Do you know what I wished? I wished that manuscript, that whoever stole my laptop would just send me that manuscript and can keep the laptop all they want. Why? Because the thing that it was meant to do is greater than the laptop itself. So you need to understand that, number one, that your purpose is greater than you. Not to say that you're meaningless or you're useless, that you're just some kind of collateral damage as far as purpose deployment is concerned. You are the conduit through which that purpose is going to be fulfilled, but it is greater than you. However, without you, chances are that purpose is not going to be fulfilled. So you are critically important at the end of the day. Number two, because your purpose fits into a greater and grander purpose of the Creator. If you think that your life, in terms of you being here, is fate, you will be wrong, because number two, your purpose fits in the greater and grander purpose of creation. In other words, you and I have a part to play. Take an example of an orchestra. Every single item, every single musical instrument, every single voice, every single person in an orchestra is important. If they stopped playing, because maybe they are not as prominent as the bass, as prominent as the cello, if they stop playing, the composer will know. The arranger of the music will know something is missing. It is not the same. It's the same thing as your fingers. You have 5 fingers. Hopefully you have 5 fingers on your hands. If one is missing, something is off. When I go for worship on Sunday, sometimes they bring a worship leader who has only 2 fingers. And sometimes I don't want to look at her raising her hand up. But my point is that if you don't play your part, you are affecting the rest of creation. You are not as useless as you think. You are not like a drop in the ocean like people normally say. You are absolutely critical. If you're missing to play your part, the world is affected. No one is useless. Your part, when you do your part, you are contributing to a grander purpose. Number 3, everything in the world is connected to everything else. That is why we need you. You are not useless. Nothing is autonomous. Everyone is connected. This thing I'm doing on the podcasting, it might feel like there's no money coming out of this podcast. I can just as well stop. No. It is connected to everything else in this world. You have no idea how unrelated things bring people breakthroughs. Sometimes I don't know whom I'm encouraging. I don't know, maybe someone was listening and they wanted to commit suicide and they listen to these episodes and they're like, hey, wait a minute. Let me give it one more shot, one more day. Let me be patient a little bit. Maybe I say something that just opens up someone's understanding. Everything is connected to everything. That's why nobody is useless. That's why now no life is useless. So don't call your purpose fate. It is destiny. Fate is like there is no connection. It's just negative. It's just finality. No, there is a purpose behind your existence, behind who you are, behind the things you do, behind your uniqueness. And number 4, you are fashioned with your purpose in mind. There is no human being, you will never convince me even for a second that there is a human being whose appearance on the face of the earth is for nothing. You will never convince me about that. If you look around you today, if you're in a room, if you're in a car, whatever place, you will not easily find anything useless around you. If it is useless now, it is because it has fulfilled its usefulness. There is nothing useless. How about a human being? There is no human being who was formed without a purpose. You are fashioned with your purpose in mind. And remember what I said earlier on, your purpose came first. You were fashioned, equipped in such a manner that you can fulfill that particular purpose. Therefore, it is not just fate, it is destiny. And lastly, even as I come to a close of this episode today, you are equipped in the way you are so that you can fully serve that particular purpose. The thing, they just connect one to another. It's like I'm saying the same thing. That's how seamless purpose is. You are equipped specifically. That's why you love what you love and I don't like what you like. Probably you love transportation. I don't like adventure. You love travel. I don't love travel. You love people. I don't maybe love people. I love crocodiles. I love animals. You love art. I love science. You love religion. I love governance. We are uniquely different so that we can serve the particular purpose that we have. You know, our biggest problem is that when we go to school, we are never trained, or we never grown. We are never made to grow in order to fulfill the destiny, the purpose for which we were created in the first place. That's why we ignore. A teacher in primary school discovered that I can write. I'm good with words. But what happened with that? It was never given priority. I'm telling you, my official education never zeroed in on my talent and gift of working with words. Never. That's why I ended up doing management information systems, working with computers and trying to code and do Visual Basic for applications, trying to build library systems using programming languages. Of course, nothing is useless at the end of the day, but what I'm saying is that as I was equipped to be a man who works with words, therefore my training should have been skewed heavily on that. Formally. What I've done with this, in fact, by the way, I earn much more in my life. I can tell you this for a fact, I have earned much more from my gift and my talent than from my formal education. Today, I have shared what I've been able to share, and I want us to start discussing tomorrow the reasons why I believe you are not a victim of fate. I've already hinted on some of these things, but tomorrow we'll talk about those in depth. Maybe we'll do 5 episodes and then we'll call it a day. Until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.